but I still believe in the show. Loyal to a fault. She's a better liar than me, but I still believe in the show. Loyal to a fault. She's a better liar than me, but I still believe in the show. Loyal to a fault. She's a better liar than me, but I still believe in the show. Loyal to a fault. She's a better liar.
Hello everyone. So we will start our workshop. So today we are going to talk about the cyber security, and in this particular workshop we basically see what are the common fields in cyber security, or in this particular workshop you are basically exploring our digital battlefield, right? So it is a kind of introduction part of the cybersecurity. So, but let me first introduce myself. So, hi, I'm Sumit Jain. I'm a cybersecurity trainer and OffSec specialist and a red teamer. I have 12 plus years of hands-on training experience in OffSec security. I have trained thousands of students and professionals all across India, delivered corporate training sessions for tech teams and IT departments. Previously, I worked at RPA and CDTS. I'm also the judging panel member for multiple college level hacking tournaments. Apart from that, I'm actively doing bug bounties on various platforms and a proud SRT member. So my mission is to turn curious mind into elite cyber warriors. So that's why I'm here, and I hope you are also here to explore the cybersecurity field. So if we talk about like what is cyber security really, so when we hear the term cyber security, so one thing that came across our mind, like what is cyber security? So cyber security is basically practice of protecting computers, servers, mobile devices, networks, and data from digital attacks. These attacks are usually aimed at accessing, changing, or destroying sensitive information, extorting money, or interrupting normal business operations. So, protecting all these things we learn in the cyber security itself. And why cyber security is important? Because in the cyber security domains, when we explore various areas, like if we talk about the core elements of cyber security, so we have network security, we have application security, and then cloud security, IoT security, and then internet of things security, physical security, social engineering or incident response. So in all these areas we basically try to explore different things. And cybersecurity is crucial for protecting sensitive information from cyber criminals. So there are multiple cyber threats like hacking, data breaches, or malware. So learning cybersecurity, or as in cybersecurity warrior, it ensures like you can protect your digital information, you can protect your data privacy, safeguards your financial transactions, and maintain trust in digital interactions, right? So cybersecurity is basically crucial for protecting sensitive information, because cybersecurity is not a choice really right now, but it is a important assets of protecting ourselves or businesses from cyber threats, because cyber threats are rising every day. So there are multiple opportunities for skilled professionals or ethical hackers or penetration testers or red teamers or SOC specialist security analysts to protect all these information from various cyber threats. So that's why you need to understand like cyber the common areas of cybersecurity, right? We often hear in the newspapers or in the digital newspapers like various cyber attacks are happening day by day. So right now, as you are already know, like we are currently facing a attack on our uh, Indian territory. So the hackers are aiming Indian infrastructure websites with their cyber attacks. They are taking down the applications. So to protect our digital information, to protect our data, to protect our applications, we need cyber warriors, right? Some of the data breaches also happens in the past, like if you heard about Samsung data breaches or Zomato data breaches. So the cyber threats are rising day by day. So if we talk about the cyber security universe, so there are multiple fields in the cyber security you commonly exploring. So one of the most important field is red team. So it is known as offensive security. Then followed by blue team, it is defensive security. Then a new team is also introduced, which is purple team. Then we have GRC team, which means governance, risk, and compliance. And then we have DFIR team, which is digital forensics and incident response. And then we have security architecture and DevSecOps team. So if we talk about these one by one, so what is actually red teaming are, or what if a person is working in a under the red team, so what is his objective and responsibilities, what areas of the what areas of core element he will exploring or she will exploring, what type of information he or she is protecting, and what their objectives are. So I'm going to talk about all these one by one. So red team is basically the offensive side of cybersecurity, in which we basically simulating the real world attacks to test how well an organization can detect and respond to threats. So suppose you are developing a application. I'm not talking about like web application or mobile application. Overall, I'm talking about the application. Either it will be a software application or mobile application or maybe cloud application, whatever it is. But you have an application, so you want to protect that application from the malicious actors, attackers, hackers, criminals, right? So the red team, what red team is basically doing, red team is launching real world attacks on that application to test how well your coding is, how well an organization can detect and respond to these all these attacks. So this RAD team is basically acting like a hacker, of course with the permission of the organization or the company or the application itself. So we act like a hacker to find weakness before the real attackers do. So suppose you are basically attacking the application with a sandbox environment or basically a virtual environment with the permission of the owner of the application, and you find some weaknesses. So these weaknesses may lead to expose the sensitive information to the criminals. So red teaming person is basically exploiting the application before the real attackers. So the red teaming person is basically finding the weaknesses, then reporting to the concerned team, and the concerned team take appropriate action and fix those vulnerabilities or weaknesses, or you can call it as a bugs. So the chances of the attackers to real attackers to find the bugs are less. So basically red teaming is playing a crucial part in protecting our digital information. If we talk about the phases of the red team, so reconnaissance is the very first phase, which means you are basically collecting the information to craft your attack. Then exploitation, you are using that information to explore the application or finding the weaknesses while launching different kinds of attack. Then taking the privilege escalation, that means if you are a low level user, so your aim is to gain the permission of high level user. So there are multiple types of privilege escalation, like horizontal privilege escalation or vertical privilege escalation, broken access control, insecure direct object references. Then we will move with the lateral movement and then data exfiltration. So these are the 5 phases of a red team operation. So who is basically doing the red teaming? So this is used by the ethical hackers to test systems, people, or processes, just like cyber criminals, but for the good. So as a red team member, it is acting like a cyber criminal, but not cyber criminal or not a criminal. But the aim of a red teamer is basically protecting that information via launching the attacks. So if you talk about like what we need to become a red teamer, so you have two skills in scripting, networking, and have creating creative thinkings are essential. So if you talk about like how can we start it, so you can go with the OffSec OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional, and then CRTO and CRTP, Certified Red Teaming Professional, right? Then if we talk about the blue team, so blue team is known as defensive security. So in this, you basically trying to respond to the attacks. Suppose someone is leaking your data, so in that case what you can do, so that is the core function of the blue team. So blue team basically protect systems by detecting and responding to attacks in real time. There are multiple teams in it, or you can say subdivisions or sub elements. So SOC is the common security operation center. So a team of cybersecurity professional who will watch over the network 24/7, like digital security guard. So this team is basically monitoring the network traffic, and if something suspicious was found or triggered, so the SOC team will take appropriate action to that attack. So the work of this blue team or SOC team is detecting and responding to the attacks. Then we have log monitoring. So looking at systems activity logs, we basically monitoring the logs to spot anything unusual or suspicious. You may have seen like whenever you are doing something in the system or the server, logs are created. So a team of SOC or a team of blue persons, they are basically monitoring the activity logs to spot anything unusual or suspicious. Then we have threat hunting. So it is basically proactively searching for hidden attackers who may already be inside the network. So that means uh, if your applications is compromised, if your infrastructure is compromised, so threat hunting means like you are searching for that attacker. Suppose somehow a malware is already injected into your application or in your organization or in your infrastructure. So threat hunting person is basically finding that malware that is already in place. Then we have firewalls. So you already know like what firewalls is do. So firewalls is basically blocking the traffic, blocking the bad traffic, allowing the good traffic. So it acts like a gatekeeper. It only passes the good traffic. That means if an attacker is crafting or doing some attacks, so firewall can block him. Then we have SIEM, which means security of information and event management. So these are the tools basically. If I talk about the common tools of SIM, so the log rhythm, QRadar, Splunk, Sumo Logic. So these are the common SIM tools that basically collect logs for different sources like your system, your server, and then alerts when something suspicious was found. So a team of SOC, if they are using SIM tools, so their main work is to collect log, or they basically created an environment or running the tool on the infrastructure to collect logs from different sources. Then they will analyze the logs and alert when someone's fishy happens. Alerting means they are basically making reports and submitting it to the superior team. Then we have IDS or IPS, that means intrusive detection or prevention system. IDS means it basically detects attacks, and IPS is basically detecting and blocking attacks automatically. So in the infrastructure, these two is also used, IDS or IPS. Then we have the purple team. A new team is introduced in the cybersecurity or cybersecurity universe. So purple team is not particularly a separate entity like the blue team or red team, but it is a collaborative functions where the red team and blue team work together to enhance the security, enhance the organization security posture, right? So if an organization, if we take about like if I talk about big names like Flipkart or Apple, so in they are basically doing their businesses online and offline as well. So they have infrastructure set up as well, and they have application set up as well. So they need a blue team and purple, blue team and red team. They need both teams to basically save their data from the attackers. So the purple team is basically the team who is uh, red teamers and blue teamers are working together. So suppose in an organization, if they are only depending on the red teaming, so maybe they are not monitoring or they are not particularly using the threat hunting or incident response or not using the SIM tools. They are actively uh, rely on the red teamers who will identify vulnerabilities, and then they think like their application is secure, but maybe not, because maybe a real attack is happening on some time, and there is no other person who is monitoring the attacks. They are not using firewalls or IDS or IPS. So the purple team is the requirement of today's world. So in this team, the person sharing the intelligence, techniques, findings to ensure the improvement of threat detection and response. So why we need purple teaming? So maybe red team attacks may go unnoticed by the blue team, or maybe the blue team may not fully understand the red team techniques. So without collaboration, these things cannot be patched successfully. So that's why purple team fixes this gap by ensuring like these two teams may align, communicate, and evolve. Then we have GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. So GRC is basically about ensuring the organization's security efforts with business goals, following legal or regulatory rules, and manage cyber risks effectively. It's less technical, more strategic. Suppose you are about to launch a product. So basically, the governance, risk, and compliance is designing how your product should look like in terms of security. Suppose you are building application, so what kind of application you are building, according to that, a compliance policy is taken. Like, are you following the security standards? Are you following all the rules? So if we break down the GRC component, so governance, we will break down in three parts: governance, risk, and compliance. Together, it is known as GRC. So what basically governance meaning? So are we doing the security right way? So in governance is basically defining policies, procedures, and roles in an organization, how everyone roles are, what is the procedure of developing that product, what are the policies they are basically using, right? So in GRC is basically using or setting the cybersecurity goals or direction, like what tools they are using, basically creating or managing a flow chart of the security posture that is used by the organization. And if we talk about the risk management, so what could go wrong? They basically evaluating the risk of that product. Like if they launch that product, what should be the risk of the attacks and how they will handle those risks. So in that particular part, the cybersecurity warriors are identifying and evaluating the cybersecurity risks like data breaches or ransomwares. They will prioritize and threats these risks, like avoid, reduce, transfer, or accept. Conduct security or risk assessments regularly. And then compliance. So compliance means if you are developing a product, so are you following all the rules? So there are multiple compliance policy in the market, which is GDPR, ISO 27001, 27001, and HIPAA and PCI DSS and more. So organization is basically using these compliance policies to check check out like are they following all the rules. So it basically ensures the company meets legal, industry, and regulatory standards. Suppose you are launching a product in European territory, so you have to follow the GDPR. Then we have digital forensics and incident response, which is DFIR. So DFIR is the process of detecting, investigating, responding, or recovering from cyber incidents like hacking, malware, or data theft. So if we break down these things in two parts like digital forensics or incident response, which comes together known as DFIR. So digital forensics is basically finding out like what really happened. If you have already compromised, so the team of the digital forensics will analyze all the compromised system, all the compromised applications. The team may recover the deleted files, logs, and find out like how this particular thing happened. The team will trace the attacker's movement and collect evidences for some legal actions or internal review. So this is also the part of cybersecurity. These all these teams are the part of cybersecurity. And then we have incident response, which is known as IR. So it is basically known as like the team detect and confirm the data attack. If the attack is happening, so what is immediate action the company should take? So that is comes under the incident response. He will remove the malware, close the backdoors, recover systems, restore services. So the immediate action after the attack is known as incident response. The team may document everything for learning and legal use respectively. Then we have security, architecture, and DevSecOps. So this particular domain of cybersecurity is focuses on designing secure system from ground up and make sure like security is integrated into every stage of development. So if you are familiar with the DevOps, so that means the development and operational cycle. So in this, when a product is developed, some pipelines are used, right? So in the pipeline, if something is developing, it actually is monitoring or deploying simultaneously. So if we merge the security in it, so it is known as DevSecOps. So DevSecOps is basically using the security into DevOps pipeline. So DevSecOps, development, security, and operation, is the collaborative process or collaborative development with built-in security. Right now, everything is migrating into the cloud. So that's why DevSecOps is the future or the need of today's environment. It emphasizes code quality, vulnerability scanning, and secure deployment. So basically, when we are learning or when we are building something, when we are testing something, when we are monitoring something, so DevSecOps is the thing that we should read about. So if we talk about common practices, so threat modeling is the thing, identifying possible attacks. SAS static analysis, which is SAST, dynamic analysis, which is test, CI/CD security tools, so something like SonarQube or GitHub Actions or Trivy, and containers and cloud security. So the Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, and Azure. So all these are the common domains of cybersecurity. If we go through one by one, so security architecture and DevSecOps, then digital forensics and incident response, then governance, risk and compliance, purple team, blue team, and red team. And if we talk about the core domains in cybersecurity or core elements of cybersecurity, then network security, application security, cloud security, IoT, physical security, social engineering, or incident response. So when a person wants to make a career in cybersecurity, he must uh, select or like he must know about all these domains in cybersecurity according to the person's skill, according to the person's interest, and like how their or how he want to contribute his skills, his knowledge into the field of cybersecurity. So he have to choose or she have to choose particular thing. So if we talk about the network security, so in this particular thing, we have to secure the computer networks, because without network, nothing can be operated. So network security means you are securing your network from unauthorized access, intrusions, or cyber attacks. So in network security, it includes firewall, intrusive detection system, IDS, VPNs, and other technologies that prevent malicious activity on the network. Then we have application security. So this particular domain of or the particular element of cybersecurity is involves securing software application. So suppose when we say like I'm working in cybersecurity, so cybersecurity is nothing. Something like you say I'm working in IT. So IT is not something. There are multiple fields in IT itself, but if you say like I'm working in IT, so that means nothing. So when we introduce ourselves like I'm working in this, I'm working in application security, I'm working in network security, or I'm working in cloud security, or I'm working in digital forensics or incident response, or I'm working in SOC, or I'm handling the SIM tools, I'm handling the DevSecOps part, right? I'm handling, or I'm do working in red team, blue team, or purple team. So that should be the thing whenever you are introducing yourself. So don't ever say like I'm working in cybersecurity. Instead, introduce properly, like what domain of cybersecurity is particularly you are handling. So in application security, we basically attacks the software applications, including mobile application, web application, software application from cyber threats. We protect or we test the software code and then migrating or securing that code. Then in cloud security, we in this particular domain is securing the data that is stored on the cloud. So cloud security also includes access control, data encryption, and monitoring of cloud infrastructure to prevent unauthorized access, data breaches, and other cyber attacks. Then IoT security. So if you are familiar about the IoT, Internet of Things, so everything is now connected or running with the softwares or with the internet. So in IoT security, we are basically securing the networks of physical devices, vehicles, and buildings that are uh, embedded with sensors or softwares. So if we talk about like I'm making a career, or I want to make a career in cybersecurity, particular in cybersecurity field, or the elements of cybersecurity, or the domains of cybersecurity. So what should be the opportunities for non-coders? So you can go with the network security, you can go with the penetration testing, or you can go with the cybercrime investigation. If we talk about like what opportunities we have as an coders, if I know some kind of knowledge of codings or languages, so then you can go with the web security, wireless security, virus and malware analysis, mobile application security, and cyber forensics. So the main goal of learning different domains of cybersecurity is like contributing yourself into the world by making the secure application or securing the digital information, right? So one thing that came across in every mind, like how do I start it? So there are multiple platforms which you can uh, start your career on cybersecurity. So the very first platform I want to introduce is tryhackme.com. This is a learning application, and in this application you can learn or upgrade yourself with the different domains of cybersecurity. You can make a free account on this application. You can learn, you can read red teaming, blue teaming, digital forensics, SOC. So TryHackMe has multiple labs that you can solve, or multiple tutorials also, which you will need to get a start. The other platform which we can trust is Hack the Box. Hack the Box is also the platform that giving us the opportunities to take a step in this particular world. So when you want to make a career in cybersecurity, the very first thing you will do is to choose one particular thing, like what kind of team you want to join, what kind of particular cybersecurity domain you want to be part of. If you talk about the job opportunities in every field, so there are plenty of jobs of every field. It's not like uh, a certain domain contains more jobs from the other one. Every team has its separate value in terms of cybersecurity or overall cybersecurity. So when you try to learn, or when you try to learn from these two websites, so I want to highlight one more exceptional platform to learn about web application security or API security, which is Portsfigure. So in Portsfigure particularly, there is a academy section. In this academy section, you can create an account, and you can learn various kind of web application based attacks. This particular academy of Portsfigure is publishing more and more topics related to, like, recently the latest topic which is launched on Portsfigure is LLM attacks. As you already know, like, the AI is taking the market. So the large language model attacks, so web LLM attacks. In this attack, if I want to highlight the attack more, so the labs are there in Portsfigure. You can try to solve it out, and the organizations are rushing to integrate LLM because AI is the need of our world right now. So every organization wants to improve the experience of their customer. Something like, recently, if you heard, like, Google is launched the Firebase Studio. So if I want to highlight the Firebase Studio, so there is a application which is launched by the Google, AI based application, Firebase Studio. This particular application is basically full stack AI workspace. In this, they are basically using the full stack techniques to develop an AI app. So you can basically develop an Android app in few seconds with the help of AI. So every organization wants to improve the customer experience. So they are rushing to integrate the LLM model, large language model. And you already know, or you are aware of, like, when something is integrated into the applications, so attacks are always there. So integrating the LLM model into the application, it exposes them to web LLM attacks to take the advantage of model access to data, API, or user information that an attacker cannot access directly. So what basically LLM attacks are, so retrieve data that the LLM has access to, common sources of such data like LLM prompt, training set, and API provided by the model. Like, if we take example of ChatGPT, so ChatGPT is providing the API to the users. So the API which is given by the model and the prompt we are giving to the AI to learn something new or upgrading their mindset. So if an attacker can access that data, so the LLM attacks can happen. And then attacker can also trigger some harmful actions via API. For example, attacker could use an LLM to perform a SQL injection, or some more web attacks. It can also trigger some attacks on other users and the systems if the AI is integrated. So we need to learn about all these new attacks that is comes when a new technology is invented or used in the world. So right now, as Web3 attacks and LLM attacks are the common new attacks which we need to learn about. And if we talk about, like, what is LLM, so LLM is known as large language model, are the AI algorithms that can process user inputs, create reasons by predicting sequences of word. Like, when we put something in the AI prompt, we suppose I want to make an app, so I provide, like, I need to make this particular type of app which provide user experience for cybersecurity. So the LLM takes or create the responses by predicting the words, or predicting the sequence of words. They trained on public data sets. So whatever you provided, they are basically trained. something like in the few weeks back when a trend is start known as Ghibli, I think. So when everyone is putting their images to the AI model, so basically AI model, these are not the, like, I'm not AI model is not particularly taking that images. Maybe they using that those images to some other things as well. These are the market threats, right? So that's why we need to test out or learn about the LLM model. So in this particular uh, Portseeger lab, you may know about the LLM attacks and prompt injections, how you can identify vulnerabilities in AI prompt networks, detecting some LLM vulnerabilities, exploiting LLM API functions and plugins, right? So everything is available here. What kind, if you want to learn something or if you want to learn about LLM, you can explore this Portfigure tutorial. Or after when you learn, when you learn it, there are labs you can use it to perform or to understand more. So in this particular lab, you need to delete the user Carlos. So inside the application, there is a user available, which is Carlos. So you need to launch your attack to delete the user Carlos. So particularly if you want to solve this, the required knowledge are how LLM API works, how to map LLM API attack surface. Only then you can solve this particular lab. So there are no shortage of resources in public internet which you can take advantage of learning or upgrading yourself in the different areas of cybersecurity. So that's the application which is using the AI LLM model, and there is a live chat option and the email client or the backend AI logs. So you need to solve it, right? But for that, but before solving, you need to understand more about the LLM attacks. So these labs are helping, these platforms are helping you to learn these attacks. I'm not talking about the domains of like blue teaming or purple team, but these all are the commonly exploring the red teaming part. Yes, in the try hack me, there are some labs or some resources for blue team as well, but not much. If you want to test out your skills, or if you know about the attacks, then these platforms will also help you to basically giving you the opportunities to test out or playing your part in securing the applications. So HackerOne and Bugcrowd, these are the two commonly platform I will use to hunt down the vulnerabilities on different application. And for that, they are also paying you. So it's not about like if you are learning the red teaming or something else or pen testing or VAPT or red teaming. So you cannot use your skills ethically. Yes, there are opportunities in the market which you can grab and test out the real application. Similarly, Bugcrowd also has this thing. Bugcrowd also has some programs which you can take advantage, and in this there are multiple programs which are available. So I'm not wasting your time, but I'm also giving you a live demonstration. Suppose there are Android applications. So today in this particular workshop, I want you to know about like what particular thing I'm going to talk to. So after the introduction, I'm going to show you like how Android apps are tested, right? So whenever a Android app is developed, it is stored in Google Play Store. And when we do the testing of this Android app, so two types of testing is basically done on that application. One is static analysis and then dynamic analysis. So because we have not that much time to cover everything on this short period of time, so I'm going to tell you like how static analysis will be done for a Android application. And for that, I have a dummy Android app known as Insecure Bank version 2. So it is a demo Android app basically, which we will use as an example, and then we will perform the static analysis. So what is the meaning of a static analysis? So static analysis is basically you are not launching the attacks on the application. Instead, you are checking the configuration or the coding, like if any malicious functions are used, if any security misconfigurations are there, if any hard coded secrets are there. So that's the thing you basically wants to perform on your Android app. So how you can proceed with the static analysis? So first you have to download the APK, whatever device you have. Suppose you have mobile, so you have to download the APK you want to test it. Or suppose if you have the computer or laptop, then you have to download the APK in your laptop as well. There are multiple downloading applications which helps you to download that particular APK. After that, for static analysis, we use this platform called mobsf.live. It is a cloud platform known as Mobile Security Framework. So this cloud platform has the ability to perform a static analysis of the given Android application. Yes, of course, if you have an iOS app, you can also provide it. If you have an Windows app also, you can also provide it, right? This platform is not particularly restricted to perform the static analysis of only Android applications, but also has the features of testing the iOS application or the Windows application as well. So whatever application you have, you can upload it and analyze and see the static results. So I have already downloaded the Insecure V2 app. This is the APK of Insecure version 2. And if we like talk about what is uh, this Insecure V2, so it is a dummy Android application, and it is made for security enthusiasts or developers to learn the Android insecurities by testing the vulnerable application. The backend server is written in Python. It is compatible with Python 2, right? So let's test out. So first we have to upload it. So I have already downloaded the APK. So you have to upload it. And once you upload it on the MobSF platform, it will take some time to show you the result. It will take some time to generate the result. And after that, you can uh, analyze your generated results. So I have already analyzed the result this particular APK. So the report is created, and if we open the report, we will got to know what are the static analysis. Okay, so the application which we given, so the name of the application, the size of the application name, the package name, the target SDK minimum or maximum SDK, the Android version, right? And here you have the detailed report. Of course, you can also download the report in PDF format as well. When you click it, a report will be downloaded, right? So I'm not downloading it, but I'm showing you like what vulnerabilities will be identified via the MobSF platform, which is mobile security framework. So it is first analyzed all the signatures that are given in the Android app. So it is using the V1 signature, using the X509 digital certificate. The algorithm is RSA, SSA, PKS, SLV15. Then it is valid from this to this. Then the serial number, the hashing algorithms, and now we have some results. Like in this application, some permissions are defined. So they are basically using or asking the dangerous permissions from the user. So that's why the status is dangerous. Suppose if I take an example, so it is reading the contact. So when we install this application in our device, it will ask the permission of reading contact. So basically reading the contact data. So if that permission is enabled, it allows an application to read all the contact addresses that is stored on your phone. So if the application is infected by a malware or some malicious shell attacks, so maybe the application can use this to send your data to other people. So that's why this particular permission is not enabled on the application. But as we already know, this is a dummy application, so that's why all the permissions are enabled in the code. But when we are doing the static analysis of a actual application, we basically uh, try to identify what kind of permission the application asks from the user. And if we find something fishy or malicious, then we can may report to the concerned team, like they should remove this particular permission. It is not useful for the user. Here also we have the read profile permission or the send SMS permission. It is using the credentials as well, right? It is writing the external storage. So in this application, all the permissions which are used is dangerous. Then it is checking all other things as well, like network security. If something suspicious was found in network security, it will be available here. Then the browsable activities, then the API if it is used in the Android app, then it performs the certificate analysis. So the app is vulnerable with Janu's vulnerability. So that means the application is signed with V1 signature scheme, making it vulnerable to Janu's vulnerability. Then we have the manifest file analysis. So in application, in Android application particularly, a file is created known as manifest.xml. You can check out the manifest.xml code also. It is given here, manifest.xml, and that's the file of manifest.xml which is used in the Android application. So in this you can see all the permissions are there, all the activities, all the receivers, right? So when we perform the static analysis, we basically check out the Android manifest.xml. The part of analysis is identifying the dangerous permissions if something else is written in the manifest. So in the manifest, upon manifest analysis, the mob SF got to know like the app can be installed on a vulnerable unpatched Android version. That means the app can be installed in the outdated Android versions as well. So that why it is a high risk vulnerability or high risk weaknesses for the user. In the app, the debugging is already allowed, right? So debugging was enabled in the on the app, which makes it's easier to for reverse engineer to hook a debugger to it. This allows dumping a stack trace and accessing debugger helper classes, right? Then the activity is vulnerable for Stradhog. So some activities are not particularly up to mark, like the post login. After the login activity is not secured, then the do transfer activity is not particularly secured, right? So upon manifest file analysis, we got to know like we have some vulnerabilities. I think 5 or 6 vulnerabilities are there. Then the code analysis is also done. Of course it is a dummy application, so no, not that much data we retrieved, but if you perform analysis of a real application, so maybe you will find something more. Then the file analysis is also done. The Firebase database analysis is also done, not particular we have something. And then the APK ID, which is the classes dot dex analysis, so here we have something. And then it is testing for abused permissions, if some emails are disclosed, if some URLs was disclosed, and if some hard coded secret. So you can see here like some of the hard coded plain text, clear text credentials are also given in the app. So mob SF will plays a crucial role in testing the Android application statically. Yes, of course, you can take the manual approach as well to test the Android application, but if you do not have particular time or resources, then MobSF is the platform. Similarly, you can upload an iOS app also in the MobSF platform, and it will do the rest. It will perform the static analysis, checking each and every file that is available in the Android app to find out something suspicious. If any permission was returned suspiciously, if any data was disclosed, if any clear text credentials was found, if any API token was leaked, if any email addresses, usernames was there, right? It also performed the code analysis as well, like if some malicious code was written, not particular, some functions are not closed, or the functions are not particularly authenticating or authorizing something, so everything will be checked. This is the example of how the testing should be done. Of course we have to perform the dynamic analysis as well for the Android app, but these are the steps that involves in application security. So whatever your fields are, if you want to make your career in red teaming, so you have to start with the vulnerability assessment. So if we talk about the what is vulnerability assessment, so vulnerability assessment is a systematic approach of finding security loopholes in network or software system. I'm only talking about the red teaming approach. So in red teaming, you first know about the VA, which is vulnerability assessment, and after that, PT, penetration testing, and VAPT. And if we perform VAPT on some particular environment and integrate with some more attacks, it will becomes red teaming. So in red teaming, we will do VA, we will do PT. So if you are choosing the red teaming as in your career, so you must know about how networks are operated, how systems works, how application processes. You have to know about the fundamentals of web application or Android application or the iOS application or the networks, right? Only then you can perform or analysis the red teaming. So the skills are required, and to fulfill those skills or to gain those skills, you have various platforms. So in VA, we manually or this is also done by some tools. We will create a report like what are the common loopholes in the application, and if we exploiting those loopholes, it is known as penetration testing. So penetration testing is the proof of concept approach where we are taking the POCs to exploit the vulnerabilities. So this process is basically confirms if the vulnerabilities really exist and further proves if the exploitation can result to damage the application or network. Yes, there are some testing approaches as well, which is known as black box testing, gray box testing, and white box. So the types of testing approach you will take is like what kind of permission you have. Suppose you don't know or you don't know anything about the application, so anything about the structure of the system, so you will performed as an outside attacker. But if you know everything about the application, so it is known as white box. And if you have a limited knowledge, then the gray box. So the main aim of this particular uh, security talk as a workshop of today's is like you I want to introduce to the securing world or cyber security or different domains of cyber security, how you can start it, how you can make your career, how you can find some jobs, what are the common elements of cybersecurity, how you should pick them, what are the common skill set you should need to make a career of particular domain, or how you will pick your domain. If you want to choose the red teaming or the blue teaming or any other thing, so how you will start it. There are multiple online resources as well as YouTube channels. So I also have a YouTube channel where you can go through my channel to check out the uploaded videos or the resources. And we have launched some courses as well on Skill Horizon. So I'm the part of this particular organization. The motive of ours is like we are focused on helping you to discover new skills in Salesforce, artificial intelligence, data science, cyber security. So you can take my number, and if you need some more information, then you can contact me. So that's the basically motive of this particular workshop. So if you have any query or doubt, you can ask me in the group chat or in the chat in the group, in the WhatsApp group. Basically you will find my number, so you can contact me after the session as well. So hopefully you will enjoy this session. And now I'm ending this particular thing.